0345 60 Rob's in Bedford. Rob, what would you like to say?
Hiya, James. Hiya. James, I've got a question for you.
And it doesn't work like that.
All right. Now, look, in light of the fact that I have Nostradamus' phone number, and in light of the fact that you seem to be pretty righteous in your belief, self-assured in your belief that we should remain in the EU.
I just said it doesn't work like that. You phoned in to answer my questions.
Well, I said, would you mind me asking you a question?
And I said it doesn't work like that. Well, let's keep it friendly, but I've spent 2 hours and 22 minutes asking questions.
I listen to you every day. And,
well, just answer my one first. Are you one of those people who voted for Brexit but didn't believe any of the promises that the Brexiters made?
I didn't believe any promises anybody made.
Okay, good. So you're what I've been looking for all morning. Your vote was based on what, Rob?
It was just based on my gut feel, on what I was going to ask you the question about, actually, which is this. Yes. I didn't vote for the chaos over the next 2 or 3 years. I think anybody with a brain would understand that on leaving anything, you're going to have a period of chaos. Okay?
But when people described that period of chaos, they were accused of endorsing Project Fear. David Davis said there will be no downside, there will only be an upside. In fact, all predictions... No, hang on, mate. All predictions of problems were poo-pooed and dismissed. So you don't get 2.5 years later to say everybody knew that there were going to be problems. People were maligned and insulted and condemned and criticised for predicting problems. So you can claim that you knew all along that this was going to happen, but you don't get to claim that everybody knew, because the entire campaign was built on dismissing and deriding anybody who said that it was going to be difficult.
Okay. Now, so I didn't build it on the next. So I didn't make my decision based on the next 3 years. I made the decision based on my children's generation, the next 20 or 30 years, and my vision of how I saw remaining in or leaving, and the vision of the UK of that future. So when you made your decision, what I wanted to ask you was what visions did you have on in and out? How did you see things in 20 or 30 years to come up with this self-assured sort of scenario? Because I did make my decision.
Well, I looked at observable reality, and I decided it was better than the unknown.
Okay, so what's your observable reality the 30 years?
My life, my entire life.
Yeah. So what is that? Describe that. Remaining in the EU, how does your life change from now?
No. Observable reality. Observable reality is stuff that's already happened. So the freedom of movement that myself and my children would continue to enjoy, the economic growth, hopefully with a little bit of slightly more leftish redistribution of the wealth that we generate, but the economic growth which saw us continue to punch way above our weight, the cooperation on issues of security and possibly military that would ensure the continuation of the peace that has been unprecedented in Europe since 1945, when Winston Churchill first spoke about a United States of Europe, but obviously since the Treaty of Rome in 57, when freedom of movement became essentially enshrined in European law. All of the things that I voted for were, in the simplest of terms, Rob, the stuff I already had.
Okay, James, did you see one military?
Pardon?
Did you see one military?
I knew we had a veto to any form of what people like to call a European army, but I prefer to describe as military cooperation. And in the context of a very strong NATO and strong relations with an internationalist American president, I would probably have encouraged British governments to veto any need for a European army. Now we've seen what Donald Trump thinks of NATO, and now that we're almost crystal clear about his enslavement to Vladimir Putin, I'm personally a little bit closer to seeing the need for a kind of sub-NATO European-led military cooperation. But as I say, if we were in the European Union, we'd have had a veto, so the question's moot.
Okay, and did you see any increase in power of?
But I'm talking. You asked what my vote was based on, and I said what I already had. I wasn't looking in a crystal ball.
Okay, right. Okay, and I think therein lies the issue between Remainers and people who want to leave.
No. We've already established that you don't speak for people who want to leave, because lots and lots of people voted to leave after being told that warnings of chaos and turmoil were wrong.
Well, you found out lots of people who want to remain, aren't you? So why can't I speak for lots of people who leave?
Because you knew all along that there was going to be chaos and turmoil. You knew that Project Fear was accurate, but you decided that it was a risk worth taking. This should be clear to you.
I said I didn't fall for Project Fear.
Sorry, mate. When you came on the line, you said you knew that there'd be. Well, we can talk over each other, but the tape is there.
I think you have an opinion. I have an opinion.
No, I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. There's no opinion. I described stuff. I described stuff that exists, Rob.
Well, I understand that, James. I do understand that.
Carry on.
And I appreciate the points that you've mentioned there, because I think they're very valid. And I can see your picture of the future.
No, you can't. No, I don't know what the future looks like. No.
Right, okay, bear with me.
You're the one that knows what the future looks like.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying to you is the complete opposite, actually. Okay. What I'm saying to you is nobody understands what the future looks like. Nobody can predict.
They do if we carry on as we are.
Well, no, because it changes.
Well, yes.
It changes. Month to month it changes. All of a sudden we've now got
none of the things that I listed. I've answered your questions: freedom of movement, economic growth, peace in Europe. All of these things. If we continue as we are in terms of economy and trade and cooperation, all of these things stay the same. So the future is the present.
That's right.
I voted to keep things as they are and hopefully improve them. But the improvements are based on hope, not upon evidence.
Okay, valid point. I take that. Well, my question was twofold: in and out. So, how did you see the future out?
I don't see the future out. I believe the experts.
So
I believe the governor.
Your opinion just based on today. I'm not criticising you. You're based on today, the present time. How you see things.
Oh, crikey. I voted to remain, to keep things as they are.
Am I being silly? Sorry.
Well, you know you are, Rob. Otherwise you wouldn't ask.
Well, I was a bit sarcastic, actually. I don't think I'm being silly at all.
Well, sarcasm in the context of an intelligent conversation is pretty silly. So I'm answering your questions.
It's the lowest form of witness
okay, you only have to keep burbling for another 60 seconds and we'll hit the news.
Well, with respect, I'm only asking you a civilised question.
I've answered them all, Rob.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, that's a fair comment. I appreciate you answering the question, James.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you voted to leave. Oh, Rob, come on, mate. You're going to answer. Has he really hung up? Oh, bless him. So, what do you do with Rob? Seriously. He thinks he's got some answers, thinks he's got some great points. He knew it was going to be really bad in the short term, but he knows it's going to be even better in the long term. And he thinks he's got a killer point, a zinger. And then he phones up a national radio station and spills his dinner down his front. And look, for the record, and you won't believe me if you're down the rabbit hole, I hate this now. I hate it. I hate the fact that he's now sitting at home feeling like a complete idiot. It's not my fault. It's the people he believed, except he didn't believe them. That's what he's been reduced to. Oh, no, I didn't believe any of them. I voted for something unspecified 30 years hence. All of the people that told me I could have my cake and eat it, all of the people that told me there could be no downsides, only upsides, all of the people who told me that they needed us more than we needed them, all of the people who told me that there'd be 350 million quid for the NHS, all of the people who told me that the German car industry wouldn't possibly countenance no deal. Rob didn't believe any of them. He had his own vision of 30 years hence, and in his mind it still holds until he brings it into the light, and then it falls apart, humiliatingly. But that's not my fault. It's not the fault of the light. It's the fault of the people who led him into the darkness. And they're still beckoning.